Hey, what's up, world? Episode number 5, live from Quarantine Studios. It's your host, TGQ, aka Twin GQ, aka Quarantine Man. I'm here to give an intimate conversation about the revolving world of sport and business. Today we have a special guest by none other of Warren Ward. This is an incredible person. He has a phenomenal story and journey. He had the opportunity to, have a illustrious professional career. Former OUA, legend at the University of Ottawa. He actually represented, the men's national team as well. So I'm going to give you guys a chance to tap in and hear his story, and shout out to everybody that's holding strong. I know it's tough during this pandemic, but, this is the home stretch, as I say, and things are going to continue to get better. So shout out to everybody, and, I hope you guys enjoy this intimate conversation. All right. He's tapping in right now, guys. What's up, world?
Yo,
Hey, bro. What's up, Warren?
what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing amazing. I'm doing well. How you doing, brother?
Wicked. I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm good. Just enjoying myself on this day, you know?
Absolutely, man. As we all
Mm-hmm.
said, so before we get into your story, before you show the world and tell them what you're about, just want to give like a quick introduction to who you are. Obviously, I know who you are, and a lot
Yeah,
of people may not know who you are and what you do. So kind of dip into that a little bit and share some insight for our audience.
perfect. I'm gonna go ahead and introduce myself. Okay, cool. No problem. Yeah, so my name's Warren, uh, a former professional athlete, and now I'm solely, into media. Thank you very much for, having me over here in this platform. I think it's great. I wasn't really doing anything else with the time, so,
Yeah,
this definitely fills, I'd say the void for sure. So, um, but no, honestly, I do a little bit of everything. I've tried my hand at so many different things, and, I think that's what my life is about. I'm not gonna say, everyone's is. I think most people have, like a single focus, and uh, I've tried to, I guess, diversify mine, if that makes sense.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've tried my hand at so many different things because, you don't need to do everything uh, extremely well. You just got to be, mediocre good at it, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
man.
that's dope, man. Like I said, it's crazy to see because obviously when I met you, I heard the stories about, this guy that had one of the craziest, OUA careers of all time. And, this is
Yeah.
a guy that really changed the narrative for Canadians, entering, the professional realm because obviously Americans always got the bragging rights for that matter. So
Big time.
it's kind of dope to kind of hear about your story before I met you, and then 2016, when we played together at that OVO tournament, we had a great opportunity to kind of connect and
Yeah.
got to find out more about you, and kind of following you on your journey and seeing you going across the water and playing professionally and
Yeah.
and always being invested in the other things. Like I seen you doing your community stuff over there and always, talking to the kids, doing your speaking engagements. So
Yeah.
it was definitely very, very good to see, man. And like I said, it really inspired me in my journey because as an athlete at the time, I was still building my company and figuring out different ways I can kind of diversify myself. So it was definitely a good thing to kind of see. And when I seen you on the Hangout and that you were doing the 905 stuff with the sports media broadcaster, I was like, man, this is dope, man. Not only are you a great a well-spoken athlete, but you have the look for it, and you kind of that side, right? So
Yeah.
it was definitely good to see, man. And like I said, I want to kind of tap into the before, that transition and more of your story, a little bit about your career at Ottawa as well as your little pro career and stuff like that. So.
Yeah. So no, I think prior to when I was coming up, like I said, I'm from a small town, so not really a small town. But it's not well known. So I was born uh, in London, Ontario, and then I moved here when I was 13. So I moved to the Toronto area, and that's when basketball really picked up for me. Before then, I was like, all into soccer. So I've always been a sports guy, but soccer was definitely my first passion, and basketball came second, and I developed my game, and I was good enough to go, to university. So I ended up going from DeVille here. Tristan Thompson went to that school. A lot of top basketball players went to that school here in
Yeah,
Brampton, and then
DeVille was a powerhouse, bro.
DeVille was a powerhouse back in the day, right? So I left there. I didn't want to go JUCO because back then at that time, man, it was much more difficult for you to end up going, and playing D1. A
Okay.
lot of guys that went, they ended up coming back, and I didn't want to be one of those dudes. So I ended up leaving. I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna stay here,
Yeah.
and I chose to go to Ottawa U. It was probably the best decision that I made, and I made some of my best friends at that school. So it was a good place to be, man. It was a good place to be. I enjoyed my 5 years there.
Yeah.
But I definitely had the like the natural talent, but it was a continuous work. Like, people don't really know just how much I sacrificed, and I only got a small piece of the pie too, right? So it wasn't really a job. It was more of like something that I wanted to do. I chose to do it. If I could spend the rest of my days playing basketball, I probably would.
Yeah.
Even as an old ass man, I'd probably do the same thing. Like, I wouldn't change anything. Like, all the scars that I have, they're all for a reason. All for a purpose. So, but luckily, through hard work, and chance, I was able to go from place to place to place. And even, all throughout that time, I never just wanted to be a basketball player. Most kids, and I want everyone to know, like, in anything that you're doing, like, I was talking to a kid today, and he told me it was the league or nothing. So I was like, okay, well, that's a mentality that most people have. It's either all or nothing. And I'm like, okay, well, the NBA's here, right, up here. Nothing's down here. I said, I'm in between nothing. Like, I'm in between the league and nothing. I'm one of the people that didn't get to the NBA, but I don't have nothing. You know what
Um,
I'm saying? So
so,
I was like, that mentality is the problem. I said, you can diversify yourself and do so many different things. You don't just need to, focus on this one goal, because the chances are that may not happen. So
I
I
feel
was like, if you could be in between that, right, and be a Kevin Pangos and sign a $3 million contract, in Barcelona, Spain, would you not take that to play basketball?
oh,
So
absolutely.
I never just wanted to be um, like, someone, like I said, like, I didn't just want to, make the league. Like, I didn't really care about that. I just want to be a rich basketball player. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? Very simple. And I think a lot of people get this whole idea confused about, making it. And if you can take care of your family, playing ball, there's no better feeling than that. Honestly, no better feeling.
Tell me about
So a lot of the kids who think that, playing in Europe and stuff like that, like, for example, Europe is tax-free dollars.
it.
So if I'm making 3 million in Europe, or even $500,000, $250,000, whatever it is, that's tax-free money. If I play in the league, I gotta pay a lot of taxes. I gotta pay my agent. I gotta do so many other things. So there's a lot of perks to playing over there. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of different perks to, and I'm not saying not to have your eyes set there. You know what I mean? Like, everyone should try and get to the league. I would strongly suggest, that you do. But if you don't get there, it isn't nothing, you know?
Absolutely, and it's crazy that you say that because I think as a young kid, everybody's gonna have that mentality to focus, their divert energy on that one goal, and
100%.
I think it's a good way to think at 17, 18 years old, where you really wanna set yourself and your eyes on that one focus and goal, but on the journey to your destination of reaching your acquired goal as going to the league or the NBA for that matter, there's so much opportunities that you're going to encompass throughout that journey
For sure.
that, I think when you're maturing in college, you kind of see the different routes you can take to still get to the league. Like, you can go overseas like Pat Bev for
And
a
then
couple
come
of years,
back.
and then
Right.
PJ Tucker. You hear those great stories. So
Right.
I think it's one thing to set your mind on something, because I'm a dreamer. I find myself a believer as well. But the one thing that I had to do in life is kind of change my perspective of thinking to say, okay, if my end goal is the NBA, who's to tell me how I can get there, right? Everybody's destination or journey is
So
different.
different. Yeah.
And if I tell you how do you get to Toronto, you might drive a different route than me. But at the end
Right.
of the day, you still might get to Toronto. You know what I mean? And that's the goal. So, it's very interesting to see kids that still have that drive. But, if you don't make it to the NBA, is your life over, right? A lot of these kids
No.
are, giving up on their dream because they didn't make it to the NBA at 24, right? So,
Yeah.
it's crazy to say that, but on the flip side of the things, like you said, the greater opportunity to make a sustainable career overseas is something that I think a lot of people, don't really take advantage of. And I heard the podcast, the Knucklehead podcast with Brandon Jennings, and he foreseed or forgo the opportunity to play at the University of Arizona to go to get $1.2 million in Rome, bro. Like, and
Yeah.
then he
You
still
can't beat
gets to
that.
the league. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's
You
like,
can't beat that.
all perspective, bro. And obviously,
Definitely.
like, everybody in the world would love to play in the NBA if it was that easy. If the chances were like that high and the probability factor was in your favor,
Hmm.
everybody would love the opportunity to kind of get into the league and for their dreams to come true. But I really truly believe in this generation and current time. It's a different focus now to get into the league. The older you are, the less stock value you have, and
Right.
the timing, and your window of opportunity is really decreasing, right? So as a kid that's, like I said, 18 or 19, I try to would say, hey, yeah, go shoot for your dreams, but at the same time, keep your eyes open on different ways to get to that goal, right? If it's
Yeah.
hey, don't
Exactly.
don't close the door on going to Europe for 4 years to get yourself
Never.
a portfolio now where you can go into the league because you're an experienced veteran at 25.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? So
Right. And you're ready to play. You know.
absolutely. So it's
You
it's
know.
it's definitely, like I said, it's different, but I just think at the root of this mindset or mentality comes with just growth and experiences. I feel like any person learns best through their life experiences, and especially as an athlete, we're always put in this box where, like I mentioned to you a couple of days ago on the phone, where we have a focus on performance, and because of that, it kind of strips our growth, and we don't really see the bigger side of things, or
For
the,
sure.
the purpose behind what we're actually doing, right?
Hmm.
So I think that us experiencing those challenges, and especially, you could talk on it because you went overseas, and you got to live in different environments, and you're
For
around
sure.
different types of people, so you having that life experience, that not only as an athlete, but to live in a different part of the world, as in Europe, you have
Hmm.
opportunities. You could be like, okay, this is what I like. These are the things I'm around, and it kind of expands your mind. You know what I
Big
mean?
time. Big time. Shout out to KJ Wright. I see her in here. Shout out to her. She's the real goat, by the way. Shout out to her. No, so my whole professional career was pretty much boggled with injury. I've every time I was making progress, I would get hurt. So I literally tried my best to think outside the box and just always have like not a plan B, but I always tell kids like you can be an athlete and still do other things. Like, and you see, all the basketball players that are rappers. Now, I can't rap for shit, so I wasn't gonna ever, what I mean, I wasn't gonna go down that route.
Yeah.
But I know I have a mind. So, when I was 21, I created an app. And like I was trying my hand at so many other things while I was playing because I knew, once I have the money, now I can go ahead. You know what? I can make my own business. You know what I'm saying? So that was my mentality, and the more I got hurt, the more that became, a real reality for me. But at the end of the day, like the one thing that no one could take from me out of all of that experience is that I'm a survivor of everything that has, come my way. So I just played for Canada, come back during the season, right ACL torn, bounce back from that 10 months later, play 3 more seasons, tear an Achilles, come back from that, go ahead, I go to Spain right when I'm getting in a bid for me to go play in the ACB, left knee, tear the, other ACL. So that those things just kept on happening. And no matter, like how far I climbed, reality was, it just wasn't in my card. So I took that and I said, okay. But the one thing that um, I can say from all that is that I knew when, not so say, my time was done, but I just knew that I had given everything. And I think there's a lot of people who don't really know how much, like they can actually give to something. So before you give up, quit, or do any of that stuff, just be sure that you gave everything you had. That's why I don't need to play anymore, because I know like I gave everything. You know what
Absolutely.
I'm saying? And I can transition myself into, something else. I can allow the ego of basketball to be gone, and I can, I can be something else now. And that's something that I would encourage a lot of people to start thinking about, because you're not just going to be one thing for life. Like, this is not 1960 where, you know what I mean, where you're a lawyer from 20 to, 72 or whatever the case is. You know what I'm saying? You're
Yeah,
going to have to adapt, you're going to have to be multiple things in life. And like all the hoopers and all the business minds that I know, they have multiple streams of income. They have, like, it's not just ball or nothing, no matter, how much money you have.
absolutely.
It literally is a multitude of things. So those are the people that are like-minded. So that's why I'm even here having this conversation with you. Um,
Absolutely.
you know, and it doesn't really matter what level of career you've had. You can literally create as much influence as you want.
hmm
You
And
know?
that's really a crazy point that you kind of just mentioned there, because you would have think that if you play in the NBA, and no disrespect to NBA players, but you have a certain type of influence and power, but the real influence comes from who you're leading in the right direction, I
Big
feel.
time.
So,
Big time. Big
it's
time.
it's great to see. And like I said, it's crazy because I didn't even look at it like that, like knowing that you had to go through that much adversity in your pro career.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, for sure.
me not being like in communications with you every day or going through that grind with you, I couldn't imagine, because I would only see the Instagram pictures or the videos of you scoring, and it's like, okay, this guy's doing good, but not knowing how, like you said, the behind the scenes work, and
Oh yeah. No, for sure. Like, that's why I literally, like, I can walk around, holding, my head high. I don't have anything to prove against, any other basketball player. I know I put in my time. I started out, on a driveway when I was 13 years old, couldn't shoot for shit, had a little bit of a handle, wasn't athletic, wasn't very quick, and I became something. I put in the work to, what I mean, to go ahead and do that. So those things, like, they can't be taken from you. And if you can survive that, and survive hooping, then bro, you can put that energy into something else, and something
absolutely,
else will become, like the new basketball. And
yeah,
the first thing that I did was, I wrote a book for kids, because for me, the kids, those people are the future. And if I can reach their mind, right, like, my words are gonna be here a lot longer than me. And as I told you on the phone, like, bro, the Bible is the oldest book in the world.
hmm
People are still trying to discover that book. You know what I'm saying? Still trying to understand it all. So obviously, my book isn't the Bible, but if it can, it's much easier to understand, for sure. So
absolutely.
if you can write something and give something to someone, bro, like, your words are gonna live on forever. So I know just in that fact alone, I'm gonna live a lot longer than I'm actually here. And
Mhm.
that's not the reason why I did it, but it's definitely part of it, you
Wow,
know?
that's
So
crazy, man. That's legacy right there, and
yeah, and it's
well,
my book, so it's my,
ex-
like, yo, I
exactly.
own the shit. It's mine. Like, you know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? It's an asset. I get a check every 3 months.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So
that's dope, man. Like I said, legacy is something I always, try to identify with in terms of my life and, my career. And, at the end of the day, a lot of people will always talk about what they've done. I feel like when you create a legacy, your legacy speaks for itself.
facts. Yeah.
And you don't want to be the guy that goes into the gym at 45 and, oh, when I was your age, I did
Wow,
this.
you're 8 hours.
You get
I
what I'm
know. I
saying?
know.
You wanna just live your
I
life
know.
the way you've done on your terms, and have everybody tell that story for you. You know,
Facts.
and it's incredible to see that you put that energy into different things in your life as well as the book. So How did that kind of unfold? Talk about the creative process or how that even came to fruition with you starting your own children's book.
Well, I got the idea. Like I always wanted to write something. So I'll tell you that. I was very much into writing, whether that's writing a movie, TV show, something, right?
Yeah.
So, at the time, like a mentor of mine was like, maybe you should start with the youth, right? And I was like, okay, maybe that's a good idea. So I had this concept, and it literally took me about a year to write, and I was still playing here in Canada at the time. And then when I went to Spain is when I actually published it all. So
Wow.
I had this self-publishing company in Vancouver. So I owned the rights to the book. They managed my account, and it was as simple. It was simple as that. But the editing process, like I wrote the book in maybe a week and a half. I edited the book for almost 8 months.
Wow.
Oh yeah, yeah, a long, long process with editing and photos. So I actually paid an artist to go ahead and draw everything for me. So it was a good process, man. Long, but good for sure.
Yeah, that's crazy, bro. Shout out to you, bro. That's a dream right there, man. Like
Yeah,
a lot
yeah,
of people will live a life, and like I said, movies and documentaries one thing, but to have, like you said, something of power of words that can kind of last through the test of time, bro. That's big, man. You know what I
yeah.
mean? And like I said, it's good to kind of hear the backstory of that and how you were able to kind of start an idea and kind of finish it, man. So
Hmm.
that's dope while you were playing too, which is
Yeah, yeah. While I was still playing, yeah, for
man,
sure. While I was playing,
that's amazing.
so
That's really good, and it's good to see, man. Because like I said, for a person like me, I'm learning more from different ventures within the space of athlete entrepreneurs. And although you're not playing professionally, I still view you as a guy that may be doing multiple things. You're an athlete, you're still an entrepreneur,
yeah,
a sports media broadcaster, and
yep.
other things as well. So we're definitely, as the workforce is continuing to adapt during this pandemic, the jobs are definitely going to be, more accessible for the future, the generations coming after us,
I
so
hope so.
yeah, and it's definitely good to kind of see, man. And I think, when you kind of like create something for yourself and you own the rights to it, there's no greater feeling. You can have, creative, rights and power to do the things that you kind of believe in.
For
So
sure.
kind of talk about that kind of process of now entering, the space of an entrepreneur and, developing different things. If you're working on any projects, kind of talk a little bit about that.
Okay. Well, I think everyone in some light, like you are an entrepreneur because technically, you're selling yourself at all times. Your dress, the way you speak, you're always selling something to someone, right? So people always call that, like the energy, and that is the same thing. Like you're like they're picking up on, what you're selling per se, right? So if you can navigate that and create something that people want to buy, then you're able to do business with people. And luckily I've had the pleasure of having some pretty good relationships,
Nice.
and I've used those to help me put myself in different situations. So I did the broadcasting because it was something different. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to try it. I was like, what better gift than to explain something that I did at a high level, and I get to explain that to everyone else. Some other kid who's watching, may get something from it. So, and like that was the purpose behind that. So I did broadcasting for a year, then I got myself, on TV, and then this year, we did our own podcast. So me and Andrew Miller, we did our own pod every Tuesday. So we have TV Co, which is an American-based company. They basically gave us a contract 1 year, and then COVID kind of ruined that. But still, nonetheless, solid interim, and that's been the last 2 years because I stopped playing in 2018. So
Oh,
that's been the past 2 years I've
wow.
done. Yeah.
That's crazy, man. That transition though, how did it kind of like click? Like when you kind of like said, okay, I'm done playing basketball, and you were able to kind of come back and like, I guess, take some time to regather your next career move, or did you just say, okay, I know what I'm going to do, and you just kind of hop right into the media? Like, how did that kind of come about?
Well, after the Achilles, I was like, bro, if I get one more, I'm out. I said I'm done. I said I swear to myself, I'm gonna just chill. And that happened. That was January 28th, 2018. That happened. So I said, cool. This is my fate now. And I still didn't have a plan when I came back here. Like I had to work someplace that I didn't really want to work at. While I was doing the broadcasting, while I was doing the things that, I actually liked to do. So unfortunately, that's how that went. But the good part about it is that I was actually doing things that, I actually wanted to do. So yeah, I was working someplace that I didn't really want, which was actually my first job technically, outside of basketball, since I was maybe like 13. So I was doing something that I didn't really want to do. And that taught me, okay, cool. Like we don't got to do that anymore. Like that's a place where I don't need to be there. Right. But doing the broadcast and doing all the other things, those were like, okay, these are piquing my interest. Now, did I still have, remnants of, wanting to play basketball? Of course. Of course. I don't think that's ever going to leave. Like I still want to go hoop and I do get to hoop, but at that level, of course. Yeah, of course I do. But I know that that's not the end all be all. And once you can get past your ego, then honestly, you will find your peace in that. You'll find peace because that's the only thing really keeping you there is just the ego aspect. Like you don't need to play basketball. There are a lot of people right now who aren't hooping, right? The whole world is not hooping right now. So
people that get paid millions of dollars
paid
to hoop.
exactly. So they're not hooping. So once you get past the ego of it all, you can let go of it. You can let go of it and not let go of the game. Just let go of not pay, like just not get just let go of not getting paid to to do it at a high level.
Absolutely.
And be sore all the time.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
It's like
So
that. There's so much things and not to say that you don't learn when you're overseas, but there's just so much things that I think, is stopping you from becoming your best self when you're just focused on solely performing every night.
big time, big time. And
Especially when you're overseas too, and you're away from everything.
for sure. And you spend a lot of time in isolation over there. So quick shout out. And this is just me saying. So Javon Shepherd. Okay, the first conversation we had outside of me being young was on the podcast. Okay, look at his career. 11 to 12. Javon, tell me if I'm wrong. 12-year pro, moves into TV and real estate right away. Swallows the ego and says, okay, I've done this. I did this for a long time. I did this at a high level. This cannot be taken from me. Now I'm okay to move someplace else. So he, like once you give everything you have, it's okay to move on. You just literally got to get past the ego of you that doesn't want to, it doesn't want you to leave, because basketball gives people identity. It gives people purpose. It gives people the right to say, I fit in. Like I'm cooler than you almost. You know what I'm saying? And if you can and there's some people who don't even have that at all. But unfortunately, that's that was my thinking. And as soon as I was able to get past that and just remove all of the excess stuff, you know what I'm saying? Remove all of that stuff from me. I literally just had to find peace with just being me, and not being associated with basketball. And that took a little bit of time for me. It took maybe about a year. 2018 was rough, but 2019, 2020, I know I'm cool just being me. I don't have to do anything else. I don't have to say nothing else. Just I can be completely content being me. And I think a lot of basketball players need to remove the ego aspect, because they tell you that you're not any special, but or any more special than ABC person. But a basketball player, 9 times out of 10, you tell me that they don't think that they're special. Tell me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, once you can get past that, you'll be all right. You'll be all right. And
it's crazy, man. I didn't even know that about Jay Shep, bro. And shout out to Jay Shep one time, man. This is one of the guys that came out of the Scarborough community, but he really paved the way and pushed the culture forward for all the hoopers coming up after him in Toronto. And I remember
especially me.
Exactly. And things like Rumble in the T-Dot and those all Canadian classic games, and
Hooptown GTA.
Exactly, going to Michigan, and it's dope. But it's crazy. I didn't know that he's actually indulged in those other ventures.
Big time.
And
Big
to
time.
like you said, for you tapping into different things and knowing that you're at peace, and when I see you on TV and when I see the things that you're doing via social media and stuff, I can look into your eyes and be like, okay, like this is who he is. This is his purpose. This is what he's been put on this earth to do. So it's kind of good to kind of see that you've been able to kind of have that revered energy and you put it into different areas in your life and you can kind of see it glow, man. And like I said, it's crazy because a lot of people will rather be at war with themselves rather than being at peace with the world,
Yeah.
and your first thing is to be at peace with yourself, and if you
Facts.
always have an ego, you're always going to chase for that, that identity that truly isn't you. And you kind of look yourself in the mirror and you can't really look at yourself pure,
Yeah,
but
for sure. For
it's
sure.
crazy.
And
It's crazy to see, man, because I think that's what a lot of basketball players, and athletes actually go through because, they're in the media 24/7, or there's so much pressure on performance and
making you feel like you're special. So it's hard to walk
exactly,
away from all that attention. Like there's nobody calling my, like, no one's calling me for interviews. No one's calling me for, to do anything. I'm not deemed as special anymore. But so, my second tattoo, adaptation. That's what it says right there. And the reason why that's there is because you gotta, you gotta be adaptable.
mm-hmm.
And part of that for me means, like they always say, what is it? Only the strong survive, and I don't believe in that. Because strength is a mere component of being adaptable. Because that's why you get bodybuilders who can't do yoga. It's the same. You know what I mean? It's the same logic. So what I did and what I said was that I was able to take something, deconstruct it, move past it, and say to myself, okay, this is something else because I'm gonna be around way longer than basketball is. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? So that's where that logic comes from. And like, someone like you who's young, I know you realize that at a young age, but that's why you're gonna see a lot of dudes that are in their 30s and still posting hoop pics and
Yeah,
and they don't play anywhere.
yeah,
It doesn't. I don't. That shit doesn't make any sense to me. Like,
yeah.
just accept what is, live right here in the now, and then move on. You're not giving up. You're just adapting.
Exactly, exactly. And it's crazy because I always tell myself like, you can't level up doing the same things, bro. You know what I mean? You
Nah,
could
you're just
not
leveling
everybody
down.
exactly. Not everybody's like Mike or
There's
Kobe.
only one
Rest in peace.
Mike.
Exactly, but it's like everybody can't kind of live that lifestyle. Like Mike's career was based off his sheer determination as an athlete, and that opened so much doors for him where he didn't have to go and say I needed to do this post career. Those are the
No,
things that came out of a byproduct of him being the globally recognized, athlete of all time, once in a lifetime. You know what I mean? Kobe Bryant as well. But these are guys that, are once in a generational player.
but
So,
look what Kobe did. You brought up Kobe's name, right? Look what Kobe did. When Kobe retired, there was no coming back. There was no GM job. There was no him. He started his personal training, which is dope. But he wasn't trying to live in his shadow of a successful NBA player and then transferring to something else. He let basketball go because he was able to give it all he had, and that's something that other hoopers who continuously, need to go back to it, they didn't give it everything that they had.
mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So they're not able to see the possibilities in, you know, like not playing anymore. They're not able to see those possibilities. Like they can't transition. They're only going to be known as this one thing because that's where the ego comes from, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And
Right.
it's crazy that you say that because I always told myself, and I think this was probably like 3 years ago, like if, all I was remembered for in my life was, basketball and being a crazy basketball player, then I did a terrible job at the rest of my life.
Yeah, bro.
You
You
know what I
definitely
mean?
did.
You know what
If
I
that's
mean?
the
Like
only
it's
thing if that's the only thing that people know you for forever, then you didn't do a terrible job with your life. It's just that's just not a real legacy because there's so many
exactly.
hoopers that
Yeah.
you're eventually gonna be forgotten. Like
Mhm.
KG is gonna be forgotten one day. Kevin Garnett, Tim Duncan, these guys are gonna be forgotten one day. There's gonna be someone else coming up, and you know, like I shouldn't say those guys, but a lot of basketball players are going to be forgotten one day. You're like, you know, you're still going to be remembered by some, but not by everybody. And most of the people that are remembered, they have such a more, you know, global impact, man.
Absolutely.
You
Yeah.
know,
And
for
it's
Jordan to achieve that type of success, he was chosen for that. And that's Jordan. He was chosen. Like not everyone is chosen like that. You know, in
fast.
fact, there's only been a couple players in the league's history that, you know, you could say have been chosen like that. So you're gonna have to find another way to reach people, and you know, honestly, just try a bunch of different things. Try. Like there's there's no there's no wrong answer in that. There's, you know, like you're only gonna find something that either worked or didn't work. You know, like I said, bro. Me, for example, there's not anything that I'm not probably gonna try. Like I'd be lying to you if I said I wasn't trying to write a movie or write a book. Um, you know, yeah, no, I remember your white ass. You're my brother. You know, write more books, write a movie, write a documentary. Like there's so many other things that I'd like to do in my life, and it's not just one thing. And basketball was I only played, bro, 5 years. I only got to play pro ball 5 years. In that time, fuck, uh, 4 surgeries in 9 years.
Damn.
You know, so that's my story of basketball. It's like this in the span of, you know, from, you know
Absolutely.
what I mean? Like hopefully I live this long, but if it is, that basketball shit is literally this big. So
Damn, only 5 years.
um
But that's what it says your career just looks like from a mass. It was like
of
this.
course.
Just
Oh
because
yeah,
the
yeah.
things
I was
that
able
you've
to
done.
do a lot of
Exactly.
things, and
Exactly.
you know, like even I was talking about this on another live that I did like 2 days ago about the kids that were being ranked and stuff. Like most of the people who do know me from 2013, the draft thing, right? You know, going from Canada, you know, and putting my name in the NBA draft, which had only been done by like two other people.
Nice.
So most people know me from that and that whole experience. But that just goes to show you, like, if you're prepared and if you're working, and you know what, you know, like you get an opportunity, because that was my opportunity. I always thought to myself, I was the best player in Canada when I played. I was among the, you know, best players in the world at the time. You know what I mean? I always thought that about myself.
Nice.
2013, I got an opportunity to go prove it. And within a week, you know what I'm saying? A week of things, I went from a CIS, you know, all Canadian, second team, not a first team either. All right,
What?
second team. Yeah, second team all Canadian. The highlight of my CIS career was second team all Canadian.
That's
I didn't get an,
crazy,
I
dog.
know, second team all Canadian to NBA draft pick. In and it let everything change for like within 5 days of me going to Las Vegas. So I got an opportunity. I was prepared for it. Everything changed, and there's there's proof in that these kids that are, you know, so worried about likes and the, you know, and the retweets of, you know, dudes being nice, like, bro, that shit does not matter, because like I said, within 5 days everything changed. And there's so many basketball players in Toronto, so many talented players in Toronto that could have done the exact same thing. You know what I'm saying? They could have gone down there, and within 5 days they would have went from someone who was technically unranked to, you know, a shit ton of rankings. That's why that shit don't matter.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
know,
And you know, mano a mano, when you're on that court, the rankings do not save you. If
they do
anything,
not
it
save
makes
you. They you probably, if anything, they just put a target on your back.
that's what I was about to say. It makes the target that much bigger, you know, and you know what I'm saying? We definitely can, you know, tap into some stories about, you know, guys that, you know, you would have been like, yo, this guy is supposed to be what? He's better than me. How? This guy's going
Mm-hmm.
to here? I
Mm-hmm.
want all parts because
Yeah.
if he's going to
Right.
Duke and I'm going here, we gonna see what's up, you know,
All
and
right. Right. And
you know what I mean?
that all that stuff puts a target on you, man. There are so many guys. Like, bro, when I first moved to Toronto, like I said, like not even
Yeah.
Toronto, I first moved to Brampton.
Okay.
Um, there was that website, right? So Hooptown GTA, and
Yeah.
that was where dudes were fighting. So guys like Antwi was on there just torching the 40s and the 50s and the, you know what I'm saying?
Shout out to
Adrian Tom,
Tweet right quick,
shout
man.
out to
Big
Twee,
big OG
Adrian
Tweet.
Tomlinson, you know,
Yep.
All Wayne Bigby, Corey DeVoe. DeVoe was a high school legend. You know what I'm saying? High
Man.
school legend.
Shout out to
All
B.
those dudes. Imagine if you sent Antwi to Vegas in my position, or fuck a Negus or any of the talented basketball players that are around. Imagine you said them today. In 5 days, their whole reality would change too.
Mm-hmm.
So the rankings and all that stuff, like, and the likes, especially for the young kids, like, yo, don't focus on that stuff because it's not real. It's someone else's opinion, right? The same thing in media, which is why I do media now, because it's like most of the people that are talking about basketball never played. You never played anywhere. I didn't play in the league, but you don't play anywhere. So if you don't play anywhere, who are you to give an opinion to say this player is good and this player sucks? How, like, who are you to say that if you have no perspective?
Exactly, especially if, you know, a guy like you, like, had that played nationally at the national level, international level, you know, you've been around the business of things. You see guys develop as being a teammate and
For
working
sure.
out with guys. So I
For
feel like
sure.
you have a more credible perspective than a guy.
I would like to think, but in this country,
Exactly.
unfortunately, that's not the way it works. And I'll give you a prime example. Okay, most of the people who criticize basketball players only look at what they've done on the floor. The most important aspects of basketball are the hour before the game starts and the hour after. They know nothing about team talks. They know nothing about scouting reports. They know nothing about if a player is comfortable in his situation. So before you go ahead and judge actual athlete for what you see for 48 minutes on the floor, there's so many other things that go into making a player. No one ever talks about what an athlete has to go through on a day-to-day basis.
Absolutely.
So, you know, that's why ESPN and all these guys that are saying, you know, this guy sucks and this guy's good, this guy did that, but bro, you don't know. Mm-hmm. You never laced up your shoes.
And that's crazy to say, man, but it is true, because I feel like you always said, man, before you judge anybody, you know, you must take a walk in his Nikes or his shoes.
Yeah, you got to take a walk. So before people, and this is controversial topic, of course, but before people start judging their top 10 players and saying, you know, LeBron's better than MJ and, you know, I mean, better than Kobe and all this stuff, like, have you ever laced up with these guys? Kate, I'll be honest. Think about it this way. There are certain guys that I've played against and I stepped on the floor, you know, that like initial little bit of fear you get from saying, yo, this guy might bust my ass tonight, so I better come with it. Absolutely. Do you think a reporter's ever felt that before?
Never, bro.
Do you think a reporter?
That's a situational feeling. Like, you got to be in it. Like,
you got to have your shoes on. Exactly. You know. Exactly. Do you think somebody who is an analyst like a Nick Wright or whatever goes to the OVO tournament and sees the whole of Toronto in the gym, knowing everyone on the floor right now can play, and some of these guys are in the league? So if I get dunked on, if I get crossed up, you know, I'm in front of everybody. Do you think they know what that feels like?
Not at all.
So who are you to judge?
You're right.
That's my point. If I watch a doctor perform surgery, okay, for 10 years, do you think I would know what it feels like to cut an artery? Fuck no. I would never know. I would have to go ahead and do it. And until you've done it, then in my opinion, let the people that have played give the analyst or you know, I would say give the like overall judgment on, you know, on a situation. It doesn't mean that we're right, but I feel like we have a bit more, you know, a bit more credibility.
Yes, absolutely. And it's funny you say that, because we see a lot of you know, TV broadcasters and media, you know, professionals, and I honestly, to be honest, my favorite, you know, media cast professionals are the guys from, you know, the 90s, you know, like Ahmad Rashad and Bob Costas,
love those guys.
Albert and Hannah Storm. Those people are more credible than, you know, the new day and age, like the Stephen A. Smiths and, you know, the Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharps and people for that matter.
Nick Wright, especially Nick Wright and Shannon Sharp, them two. But you know, the Jordan documentary, episode 2, right? This is the one thing I picked up on, or maybe episode 2, when they talk about Scottie Pippen. Mm-hmm. Scottie said, I never had someone in the media, right? Never had someone in the media to go ahead and talk, you know, on my behalf. LeBron has Shannon Sharp. LeBron has Nick Wright. Them two argue all day about LeBron being the GOAT. LeBron doesn't say anything for the rest of his career. He has those two fools arguing on his behalf. Scottie Pippen didn't have anyone in the media to kind of you know,
pump his tire.
Exactly. Pump him up. LeBron has that. So media plays a huge part in social perception, which is why, like I said, it's something that, you know, always fascinated me, because it means that I now have the power to change the mind of people, because people listen to Nick Wright, right? And then they go to barbershop and argue all the shit that they just heard.
Exactly.
Whether it's facts or not.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And
So
it's crazy, to kind of even think about that, because when you look at experience now, like what makes you experienced in the media industry? Is it how long you've worked in media? And, is media experience more, transparent or more, superior than real life basketball experience? Like if you
not in
were,
my opinion,
you get what I'm
not in my.
saying? But like
Of
if for
course,
a
of
guy like
course.
you, like if you wanted to work for, NBA TV or, ESPN, like are you not qualified because you didn't work personally in media for 10 years?
Well, I'll tell
Right?
you this:
You know?
me working at NBA TV last year and working on stuff, basketball wasn't a prerequisite. It was if they liked you. It doesn't. They didn't really give a shit about if you knew basketball. So, and that's what I'm saying. My objective now is to get other athletes to go ahead and join this movement of speaking about the game and educating other people on like a social platform,
Absolutely.
because we have the power to do so. We've actually laced up our shoes,
Hmm.
and if you can speak about it to the public, then you should be given the platform to do so, because
Absolutely.
that's what they do in the States. You know what I'm saying? They got Ernie in the middle, and the rest of them dudes all played ball. But in Canada, they got one dude who talks about basketball who played in the NBA, and the rest of them didn't dribble a ball.
Yeah.
So it's weird how it is here. In the States, it's much different, and
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
that's something that can be addressed, and something that, even if it's not me who does it, some other kid, what I'm saying, somewhere like yourself, or anyone else could listen to this and find that, what, my career may last 10 years if I'm lucky,
Hmm.
but after I'm done playing, I want to go educate other Canadians on things that I learned because I laced up my shoes and I was able to go ahead and do this at a high level.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
didn't go to school for, any sort of reporting, but if you go to school for something, what does that mean? It can be learned.
Hmm.
You can't learn what you've been through on the court. You only got to go through it
Exactly. You got to go
game
through the
by game.
process. You got
You
to
got
go
to go
through the
through the process.
process. Yeah.
There's no basketball school that's going to teach you about, feeling that shit, this dude may give me a 40 piece today. There ain't no school for that.
Hmm.
Luckily for me, I was on the other side of giving people 40s. So I
Oh,
never really took too
we,
many.
we, we all can't we all can't tell
Yeah.
that story, bud. But I hear you, man. It's crazy talking about hoops, bro. I wanted to just, kind of relive what are kind of like, if I was to ask you three memorable moments in your basketball career. This can be a game, a specific championship. What are things that come to mind?
Shit. Number one would have to be the first time I got injured. So when I tore the ACL, coming back from that, playing my first game against Bishop's University 10 months later. So that was number one. Probably the a great feeling for me, just coming back from that, and having all of the stuff in my mind at the time, and then playing the game and, doing well. You know what I'm saying? Second would be first time my godfather saw me play. I was at UFT in front of my whole family. Um, and I had 41 that game. So
Really?
that was my second career high at the time. I was like 15 for 17 from the field. I didn't miss, and bro, it was just a crazy game. So Alex Hill was the he was the
Oh,
recipient of the 40 ball that that
oh,
that night. So yeah,
tough.
he got that one served on a platter. So that was definitely probably the second highlight for me. And then um, third would be just playing my first pro game, bro, because that was a dream, man. And like people who know me think that I was from here, but like, nah, like I said, I'm from London, Ontario. I was born there. You know what I'm saying? I moved here, I was 13. But prior to like playing professional basketball, growing up in the 90s, like from Canada, dog, that was unheard of. Like, so
Facts.
just me making it pro, like championships, yeah, anything that I won was great. But like the most memorable things for me was just saying like, yo, I think it was sometime in May where I was like, oh shit, like I can call myself a pro. Like I can say I'm playing in a top league in Germany. Like I'm a pro. Like that's wild.
Yeah.
Just saying that I'm one of a very small percentage of people. You know what I'm saying? And that to me was probably one of the greatest personal realizations. Personal things.
Yeah, man, that's absolutely, something that, no one can take away from you. And
No.
like I said, congratulations on an illustrious career, bro. There's not a lot of people that give credit when credit is due, especially people that are really outdated. I'm always big on learning your history and understanding those who've paved the way and who've came before you. And, that's why for me, before I even wanted to pursue basketball at a high level, I studied the pacemakers of the game, the guys that really transcended, the culture forward, the guys that really, pushed the envelope for guys that came from environments similar to myself.
Yeah.
And when I started to do that, I felt like it was easier for me to identify with the game.
Big time.
So it's very good to kind of hear that about your career and your memorable moments, man. And
Thank you.
like I said, it's crazy because I only got to see a little bit of it, bro.
Yeah,
It's
I know.
it's dope, and it's crazy because my trainer Justin Alleman.
Yeah, he's right here, Dream Chaser.
Yeah,
You know what it
exactly.
is.
Shout out to
Daishan, what's going on, boy?
Yeah, yes, sir. Shout out to Dream Chasers. But like even him, like when I started training with him, and he's just like he used to always say like that man Warren is a bad boy. Like what I'm saying? And just
Yeah,
kinda,
he trained me too. He
yeah,
trained me too.
exactly. And just
Yeah.
kind of putting me on to, you earlier and then me actually getting an
Mm.
opportunity to kind of hoop with you. So it's kind of dope, man. And like I said, it's very humbling, for me to kind of like look up to somebody in a basketball standpoint, and then to be able to kind of share similar interests and to kind of build on my platform. So I'm very gratefully honored for you to kind of have the opportunity to share with our platform here your story and the things that you had to go through to be here right now. And I'm obviously a part of the whole, legacy factor of paying it forward and educating people. So, yeah, man, I can't wait to, quarantine's over and you can actually get in meeting rooms and congregate with people and, continue
Yeah,
to build, right? Because I know
yeah,
there's a lot of great ideas in stores, man. And I see just because, like you said earlier, being like-minded, with similar values that, we can kind of, build and collaborate on things, for
Oh,
the
I
future.
think we will for sure. I love what you're doing. You've started this all on your own, and I commend that. With no help, as you said, no money, all those things. So, and by the way, yes, Daishan, I remember Cabana. I will not forget that evening. That evening. The question is, do you remember it? So yeah, no, I appreciate it. This was great, and anyone that has any questions or
Yeah, we
like,
got it. We got a special question request. Dream
yeah.
Chaser said, "Ask him about the first time he faced Buju."
Listen, don't whatever Justin asks, you do not repeat. Whatever, that's not a real question. That's not
Yeah,
a
right.
that's not a real question. Don't even worry about that. But
Yeah,
no, like I said, this all started with literally, someone reaching out to someone. So I always encourage people to do that. And if I see anyone out here, I mean, from this who has any questions, do not be afraid to ask or talk, because bro, like, I will respond. You know what I
absolutely,
mean?
man.
So,
And that's the person
um,
that you are, man. Very, very humble and never too proud. You know what I mean? So I guess I'll give you a chance to kind of promote your book.
yeah,
Where people
yeah,
can kind of reach you and things of that matter.
yeah. If you want to go to Amazon and I mean, buy the book, you just type in my name on Amazon. It should come up. It's called The Quest of Claude Mccall. It is a youth book, but there's something in there for everybody. There's ages 7 to like and honestly any age. There's something for everybody. Something for parents. There's something for everybody in there. So that's that. Instagram is my name right there. Warren Ward 10. Like I said, if you have any questions or want to know anything else, I'm open to working with people. What I mean. I'm so down for that. And I'm always into things like this. So just follow me, talk to me, and we'll connect.
Absolutely, man. You've heard it, from Warrior Warren himself. So I'm gonna start calling you that, by the way.
Yeah.
But thank
That's
you,
true.
man, once again for joining us here on our live discussion and our platform, man. We're always happy to have you, and
Thank you.
anytime you would love to pop in and share information with our guests and our audience, man. Like you're always welcome, man. Mi casa su casa, as they say.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, man. I'm proud of you. Continue doing this, continue, sharing the story to everybody. Yo, Justin, shut up. Continue sharing your story and your platform. I look forward to, a lot more of this in the future.
Absolutely, brother. Okay, take care, man, and
All right.
stay safe, bro.
Yeah, you too. All right. Next time. I'll talk
All
to you.
right, peace. So there you had it, guys. The myth, the legend himself, Warrior Warren. An incredible person. It's very great to hear people's story, and Warren was a former All Canadian. Team Canada participant, as well as a 5-year pro, and he's developed the opportunity now where he can get into the space of sports media and be a broadcaster, and where there's minimal representation from people in Canada. So it's always good to, like I told you, just diversify yourself and never be afraid to try new things. A lot of people might say, but what if it doesn't work? What if it doesn't work out, or I fail? You never know until you try. And if you try something and it doesn't work out, you know you're going to learn some valuable lessons that's going to enhance your way of thinking. So I always tell myself in life, there's